Alright, here we go. Today's episode of What If Goku was born as a Super Saiyan 4, I believe, is the 4th episode, so here we go. This is many years after the Beerus saga, which I did not cover because I personally don't like it, and that's just my opinion. But something in the events of Dragon Ball Super has now happened. Beerus has awakened. Everything goes on normal with Beerus and Whis. Beerus wakes up, most likely brushes his teeth, and they go look for the Super Saiyan God. They first search where most of the Super Saiyans are. More specifically, where most of the Saiyans are. Now, by the way, I'm going to clear something up. Trunks obviously went back to his timeline. Now, that's just a little detail. And so, Beerus found Raditz, Vegeta, Broly, and obviously Kakarot. Beerus announced that he's searching for the Super Saiyan God. This confused the Saiyans. A Super Saiyan God. However, Vegeta does know Beerus. And Vegeta stated this: "The strongest out of all of us is Kakarot. But trust me, he is no Super Saiyan God. So I suggest, Beerus, you just leave. Because trust me, there's no Super Saiyan God here." This angers Beerus, and we did inform them that these Saiyans have no Pacific planet to live on. So he suggested just destroying the weakest out of all of them. And that is Raditz. Kakarot, having a brotherly instinct, said, "You will not kill my brother. If you do, I will be sure to rip your stupid purple tail off and wrap it around your neck and choke you until there's no air left in your stupid lungs. You hear me?" This kinda... Well, Beerus obviously sees this as disrespectful, but it kinda... Well, let's just go ahead and admit it. It kinda intrigued him. Kakarot, being weaker than him, standing up to him just to defend his brother. Beerus obviously didn't kill Raditz after he dashed towards him and hit him with his tail. But this enraged Kakarot to fly right towards him and punch him. Beerus is surprised that the punch actually did some damage. So he powered up to 50% of his power. The two began to fight a little. But Kakarot undoubtedly lost whenever Beerus had enough of the fight. He decided to go full power for the final punch on Kakarot. Kakarot got up, not realizing how powerful Beerus was at first, and that punch really set how stronger he is than him. Kakarot yelled out, "You stupid purple cat! I'll kill you!" And Beerus simply said, "Stupid mortal." I don't know how to do Beerus voice. "You stupid mortal. You can't kill a god." Kakarot growled, If we can find you a Super Saiyan God, will you leave? Beerus stated that he would only if they found a Super Saiyan God. Then they remembered the Earth's Dragon Balls, since Piccolo is just sealed away, and I mean King Piccolo. So that means Kame and Piccolo are not dead. Yeah, I'm just gonna call him King Piccolo so there's no confusion. So they travel all the way there. After traveling all the way there, they use the Dragon Balls to wish to know about the Super Saiyan God. Again, this goes on almost as normal. And so, Shenron gives them the information about the Super Saiyan God. And with this, they learn that requires, and if I'm not mistaken, and I hope I remember this, tell me if I'm wrong, 7 pure-hearted Saiyans. That there was already a challenge, as currently there was only 4. Kakarot, Broly, Vegeta, and Raditz. That means that they needed 3 more Saiyans. And now, but they do know that there is at least 2 Saiyans that they can contact. Trunks and Paragus. That fills in the slots for 2. But now there's the empty space for 1 more Saiyan. And whenever they were in contact with Trunks, he suggested that he bring a Saiyan from his timeline. So he agreed. And this is where we get the first ever introduction between Goku and Kakarot. The two looked at each other, knowing that they're simply identical, except one Super Saiyan 4 and the other is currently in his base with God Ki. And yes, this is around the time of Super. Beerus stated, so you had to use time travel to get a final Saiyan. What a pity. Oh well. Go ahead and do the ritual. I'm waiting. Broly and the others mainly wondered if Kakarot was going to take the role of having Super Saiyan God. Goku had stated that he already had it, but he couldn't beat Beerus in a fight. Kakarot told Beerus he is going to have that form. So, the ritual began. Goku instantly noticed something different. His power never had risen this high. Kakarot, during the transformation, was still himself. But his hair was changing color, and I mean the black hair on top of his head was changing color. And while that was happening, he turned into... Kakarot had turned into a Super Saiyan God. Now this already is a game changer, and I'm gonna show you why. Yes, I opened up a calculator to tell you this. Now how forms stacked on forms work is that the strongest form, in this case Super Saiyan 4, which is a power multiplier of 4,000, is multiplied by a multiplier of 2,800. And that's how pretty much stacking a form on another works. And that would be the outcome of the multiplier. That there is already insane as it is. Kakarot surprised the others with how strong he was. Even Goku, who currently was, at this time, the strongest against Frieza. And I'm just going to say it's between the events of the Resurrection F movie and Battle of Gods. Anyways, so Kakarot and Beerus proceeded to fight. Their fight was huge. The two had battled on and on and on. Beerus even having to go around 100% of his power, and even transformed into his God of Destruction state. Well, maybe not that, but at least use it for a little bit to get his bearings. The two continued on fighting. Beerus was surprised that Kakarot had even got this strong. Because he remembers that Super Saiyan God definitely shouldn't be this strong, of all things. Kakarot continued to surprise Beerus. As they were fighting, they were pushed several light years away from each other after a collision to both of their faces with each other's fists. And by this time, this fight has been lasting for 3 hours. But currently, to the others back on the planet, not on Earth, the planet that Kakarot was at, there was silence in the sky. Not even a single shockwave, not even the sound of a punch. And then all of a sudden, BAM! A huge supernova-like object appeared in the sky, made from both Kakarot and Beerus' ki shooting off of them. At this point, everyone back on the planet knew that Kakarot and Beerus were going all out with all they had left. Beerus said to himself, "This Saiyan's remarkable. He's gotten so much stronger in this fight." But my question is, why doesn't he look like a normal Saiyan in his base form? Peculiar. Beerus began to keep on questioning that. But while he didn't know he was distracting himself. And Kakarot managed to get a few lucky punches, and then kicked Beerus in the stomach, knocking him into several planets. Even him and Beerus even had a strike on a star. I can't remember the name of it. I think... okay, whatever. A grazing shot on a star, nearly destroying it. Beerus smiled, not just from anger. Well, obviously he was pissed off, but at the same time he smiled with the fact that there's someone that could potentially put up a challenge for him. Him and Kakarot had decided to fly towards each other again, this time destroying the star due to them colliding. Beerus fought with all he had, and Kakarot did as well. Beerus thought that maybe, just maybe, they could be on equal terms. Then Kakarot decided to use his tail to whip away Beerus' arm, and then use both of his legs to kick Beerus, and use 2 ki waves to push Beerus back as far as he could. Why? He is preparing a technique that he saw Cell do. He said, Ka May Ha May. Beerus looked up out of the shock, and he was met with a beam hanging towards him. After Kakarot yelled, Ha, obviously. The beam struck Beerus. This surprised Beerus so much. He was obviously getting very hurt from this beam, and he was surprised that any mortal could do this much damage to him. He said to himself in his head, This is one powerful Saiyan. But then the rage of pain went over his mind. Well, it took over, I meant. Then he said to himself, But this Saiyan is starting to piss me off. That's where he activated his God of Destruction form, flying through the Kamehameha as if it was nothing to him anymore, and kicked Kakarot in the face, hit him in the stomach, grabbed his tail, and swirled him around. Now at this point, we know how easy it is to rip off a Saiyan's tail. Just ask Piccolo for what he did to Gohan's tail. Kakarot's tail felt like it was coming off. Whenever this was happening, it was turning brownish, and the fur on Kakarot was kind of disappearing. But Beerus didn't know, and then threw Kakarot into the side of a planet as hard as he could. But he already wasted so much energy against Kakarot, the planet didn't get destroyed under the pressure. Beerus finally calmed down and took Kakarot back to the other Saiyans. Kakarot was out cold and no longer was in the Super Saiyan God state. Even though the picture shows that he is, I'm too lazy to change it now. This surprised Beerus that he even survived. This surprised the others that that fight was the way it was. With such power presented, this riled up Goku to get even stronger, activating his Super Saiyan God. And Beerus started to put something together. Wait a second, he said to himself. If that Goku fellow is able to transform in that state, but be that weak, then why is Kakarot already 2 times that strength in his base form? And that's where he remembered that in the corner of his eye, he saw Kakarot's tail turn brown instead of it being red. He said to himself, could Kakarot be permanently stuck in a form? Hell, that's rare. But it doesn't matter. I already proved to Kakarot that I'm much stronger than him anyways. Now that I think about it, there would really be no point in keeping Kakarot around. But he decided to, as he thought if he trained Kakarot enough, they could have a rematch with each other. And maybe Kakarot would have a better chance at winning, even if Beerus does transform into his Super Saiyan God form. Well, not Super Saiyan God form, but his God of Destruction form. And now, the events go on normal-ish. Champa still shows up, and due to how his Earth is destroyed, he declares a tournament for the I believe it's the Earth that they have. Why? Because Beerus visited there, discovered that there's a lot of good food, and kept it around. Because let's admit it, that's generally how I could get this to go. And Kakarot was forced to recruit. And Beerus proved that he's willing to kill Kakarot right then and there. The events go on pretty much as normal. Vegeta gets his ass kicked by Hit, I believe. Or, no, the other events. So the events go on as normal, except there's no Manaka. Let's go say that this time they recruited, oh no, Paragus, because at least he could do something. And now, it's Kakarot versus Hit. Hit could already sense the huge amount of power coming off of Kakarot without him even being a Super Saiyan God. Kakarot and Hit fought, and it was pretty even for a while. Until Kakarot finally had enough and said, well, it's usually after Hit almost knocked him out, and almost knocked him down. Kakarot said, "Heh, so I guess you're going all out, huh?" Hit said, "Yes. Your point?" Kakarot powered up and transformed into, I'm going to call it the Super Saiyan God 4. This surprised Hit. That much power in Kakarot? In this version of Kakarot, or in some cases Goku, is different from the original, as we all know. He grew up with Broly on Vampa, which means brutal conditions, brutal nurture. He knows simply if he wants to end something, just end it. So he charged towards Hit. Hit thought he could get a time skip in, but Kakarot was too fast. Kakarot wrapped his tail around Hit's neck and slammed him into the ground multiple times. Then Kakarot punched Hit in the back, knocking him out, even destroying Champa's, picture. Now, for the sake of this, let's go and say that the Zenos didn't know about this fight, like it didn't catch their eye. So everything went back to normal. Except Hit knows that he has no chance against Kakarot when Kakarot transforms. Okay, well that's the end for this video. Everything goes on as normal-ish until a certain arc that I'm going to say here I like visually. Goku Black arc. What's that? But yeah, that'll be the next video, and this is where Goku Black will do something that Beerus nearly did. Wink wink, tail swing, wink wink, base form. Just kidding. Anyways, see you all in the next video. And if you like this, go ahead and tell me. And I will say it here, someone has won the 100 subscriber special challenge. Meaning, in the next video, I'll explain my character, then I'll do their what if. See you all in the next video. I'll talk to you all next time.